So the sense of belonging is a huge piece in terms of allowing people to live out their significance, to understand that they have purpose and power. But it does me no good to have purpose and power and understand that I'm able to produce things if I'm not in a network where those pieces can be valued, used, and treasured. And so when we start thinking about what it means to belong, we have to understand that this concept of belonging has a couple of pieces. One is understanding that we need and want to belong to networks of individuals or networks where people can see the demonstration of my talents, of my gifts, right? And so when we talk about the sense of belonging, part of that is that we need to be around or want to be around people who can recognize our fruit. So fruit is only valuable or good if it can be consumed by someone else. And so as a farmer, I am only an effective farmer if I produce goods and services that can be consumed by other people. Otherwise, I have no purpose for existing. And all too often, what happens in our workplaces and in our schools and in our communities is that people aren't in networks where they are valued or where people can consume their talents. And so people get bewildered, people get frustrated, people get they lose focus. And so one of the things we have to recognize is that people need and want to be in relationship with other folks. And so so that whatever they produce can be consumed by the greater whole, or that they can have relationships with the greater whole. I would also suggest that, in terms of being human or expressing our humanity, that our humanity is best expressed in two ways. One is in authentic relationship with other people. And when I say authentic relationship, what I'm referring to is the practical application or the practical relationships that occur when individuals have shared desires and needs. And so when those things are shared, when they're practical, when it makes sense, that's when we have authentic relationships. Oftentimes in the workplace, we have inauthentic relationships, right? So I have to work with people who I may or may not necessarily like, people I may or may not necessarily get along with. But I will tell you that once we transform the mindset of those individuals and understanding that we have a commitment to honor the responsibility of working together, then that starts to shift how people interact with each other. And so that becomes important. And also the second part of that, in terms of the sense of belonging, is that when I am in relationship with other folks, my humanity is best expressed not only by that authentic relationship, but service to them. So if I am not in the service of other individuals and I am not in direct relationship with them, then I believe that I have an inauthentic relationship, which then causes conflict because people don't necessarily see me as a trustworthy person. They don't see me as a person with integrity, and they don't see me as an integral part of the work that we're doing. I don't become an important part of the work that gets done. And so those are some things to consider in terms of looking at this sense of belonging. The other part of belonging is that I have to be in these networks where my values can be implemented, and that I'm also in networks that help to define who I am. And so one of the things that the sense of belonging that's important is that it reaffirms what a number of the things that I believe about myself. Or it oftentimes can give me another way of thinking about myself that I had not had before, or a way of thinking about myself that's not congruent with who I actually am. And so those networks, connecting with folks, the sense of belonging becomes important so that I can learn to tell the truth about myself, because I may have gifts and talents that I don't even recognize, but those people around me who are in my network can share those ideas with me. They can share those ways of thinking and help me understand my responsibility back to my significance. And so having those networks becomes extremely important as we get our learners, as we get our employees, as we get community members engaged in the process of not only defining themselves, but defining the world around them. And so I would say my humanity is best expressed when I am belonging to groups, when I am in direct relationship, authentic relationship with people, and that I am in the service of them as a human being.